Breaking news. The Falcons make a surprising move. Big news just came in from the Atlanta Falcons. I'll break down everything happening behind the scenes, but before we dive in, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. You won't want to miss any updates as the Falcons prepare for the 2025 season. Trust me, there's a lot to talk about. With Super Bowl 59 officially in the books, all eyes are now on the offseason. The Falcons are wasting no time making moves, and their latest signing has caught many fans off guard. Former Houston Texans offensive lineman Killian Zier. Now, this might not be the blockbuster signing some were hoping for, but don't overlook it. These under-the-radar moves often turn out to be game changers. Zier, a 24-year-old tackle, spent last season with the Texans after going undrafted out of Auburn. However, after Houston decided not to offer him a reserve futures deal following their playoff run, the Falcons jumped at the opportunity, and they got their guy. Atlanta has now officially added him to their growing list of 18 players competing for a spot on the 2025 roster. What makes Killian Zier an interesting signing? First off, his size is impressive. Standing 6 feet 4 inches and weighing 315 pounds, he has the kind of frame that coaches love to see in an offensive lineman. But what really makes his story unique is his journey to the NFL. Zier was born in Munich, Germany, and was actually selected in the second round of the 2023 CFL Global Draft by the Edmonton Elks. However, he never played a single snap in the CFL, instead betting on himself and taking his chances in the NFL. At Auburn, he started 16 games over 2 seasons, showing off his athleticism and a massive 83-inch wingspan. Scouts love his ability to redirect edge rushers, but there are concerns about his flexibility and power in the run game. That's where the Falcons' coaching staff comes in. If they can help him improve in those areas, Zier could become a solid depth piece for this offensive line. And let's be honest, depth is exactly what the Falcons need. If this year's Super Bowl taught us anything, it's that having a deep and reliable offensive line can be the difference between winning and losing. Injuries happen, and teams that have strong backups are the ones that go far in the playoffs. For Falcons GM Terry Fontenot, this is a classic low-risk, high-reward move. If it works out, Atlanta gets a strong offensive lineman at a bargain. If not, they move on with little to lose. What do you think of this signing? Let me know in the comments. Can Killian Zier make the roster? If Killian Zier performs well in training camp, he could earn a backup role, or at least a spot on the practice squad. And if things don't work out? No big deal. It costs the Falcons almost nothing to take a chance on him. So, Falcons fans, what do you think? Is Zier a hidden gem or just another training camp body? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Falcons scouting defensive playmakers for 2025 draft. While working on their roster, the Falcons are also wasting no time scouting defensive talent for the upcoming 2025 NFL draft. According to Justin Mello from the Draft Network, the Falcons were one of 13 teams that met with Ole Miss linebacker Chris Paul Jr. at the Shrine Bowl. If you haven't been following this guy, let me tell you, he's one of the most exciting linebacker prospects in this year's class. In 2024, he racked up checkmark 86 tackles, checkmark 3.5 sacks, checkmark 1 interception. He's currently ranked number 65 on Pro Football Focus's big board and finished last season with an impressive 87.2 PFF grade. Those are NFL-ready numbers. For the Falcons, meeting with Paul Jr. makes a lot of sense. Several key defensive players, including Nate Landman and Lorenzo Carter, are hitting free agency. Adding a young, dynamic linebacker like Paul Jr. could bring much-needed versatility to the middle of the defense. Falcons draft and trade rumors heating up. But that's not all. The Falcons are also being linked to more defensive talent. A recent mock draft from ESPN's Field Yates has Atlanta using their 15th overall pick to draft Marshall edge rusher Mike Green. If this happens, it would send a clear message. Fixing the pass rush is a top priority this offseason. And let's be real, Falcons fans, we all know this has been a problem for way too long. Speaking of pass rushers, Here's where things get really interesting. According to USA Today's Corey Woodruff, the Falcons could be in the mix to trade for Philadelphia Eagles edge rusher Bryce Huff. Huff is coming off a Super Bowl winning season with the Eagles, but his time in Philly didn't go as planned. After signing a 3-year, $51 million contract last offseason, injuries limited him to just 12 games, where he posted 2.5 sacks, 3 tackles for loss, lightning bolt 4 quarterback hits. Here's what makes this rumor even more intriguing. Huff has a strong connection to new Falcons defensive coordinator Jeff Ulbrich. In 2023, Huff had the best season of his career under Ulbrich when they were both with the Jets. That year, he recorded 10 sacks, 10 tackles for loss, 21 quarterback hits. Now imagine bringing him to Atlanta and putting him back in a system where he thrived. That could be a game changer for the Falcons' defense. Of course, the big question is, what would the Falcons have to give up to get him? So far, Woodruff hasn't speculated on the trade compensation, but this is definitely a situation to keep an eye on. Would you like to see the Falcons make a move for Bryce Huff? Let me know in the comments. Should the Falcons trade for Bryce Huff or focus on the draft? According to Bleacher Report's Maurice Moton, the Falcons might be able to land Bryce Huff for just a couple of Day 3 draft picks. That's an interesting idea, especially since Atlanta doesn't have a lot of draft capital this year. They already sent their 2025 third-round pick to the Patriots last August in the Matthew Judon trade. And let's be honest, that move didn't really work out. But Huff could be a different story. Here's why. He's only 26 years old, 5 years younger than Judon. His 2025 cap hit is just $7.5 million, a number the Falcons can work with. His contract offers some flexibility for the future. So what should Atlanta do? If they want to fix their pass rush through the draft, they could take a young talent like Mike Green at number 15 overall. But if they want a proven veteran without giving up too much, Huff could be the perfect fit. Your thoughts? Should the Falcons go after Bryce Huff, or should they focus on adding a young pass rusher in the draft? What do you think about Chris Paul Jr. as a linebacker target? Drop your opinions in the comments below. Why don't the Falcons draft Georgia players? Here's something interesting. The Falcons have spent the last few years building their offense through the draft. They've added Michael Penix Jr., Bijan Robinson Drake, London, Kyle Pitts. No doubt those are elite talents. But do you notice something missing? None of them played for the University of Georgia. Why does that matter? Look at the Philadelphia Eagles. They made it a priority to draft top Georgia defensive players, and guess what? It helped them win Super Bowl 59. Some of their key defensive stars, Jalen Carter, Nolan Smith Jr., Jordan Davis, these guys dominated on defense. And here's what stings for Falcons fans. Atlanta actually had a chance to draft Jalen Carter in 2023. Instead, they passed on him at number 8 overall and took Bijan Robinson. The Eagles wasted no time and grabbed Carter at number 9, and he became a game changer for their defense, playing a key role in their championship run. Before the Super Bowl, Georgia legend and Hall of Famer Champ Bailey even called out the Falcons for ignoring their own backyard. On This Is Football with Kevin Clark, Bailey said, "It's unfortunate the hometown team keeps passing on Georgia players." What do you think? Should the Falcons start drafting more Georgia players? Did they make a mistake passing on Jalen Carter? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Why aren't the Falcons drafting Georgia defenders? The Falcons still haven't fully embraced the idea of drafting homegrown defensive talent, and Champ Bailey made sure to point that out. He highlighted how Kirby Smart has turned Georgia into a defensive powerhouse, consistently producing elite defensive linemen. Yet, the Falcons keep looking elsewhere. The harsh reality: Atlanta's defensive line struggled this season, and let's be honest, they could have used players like Jalen Carter, Nolan Smith, or Jordan Davis. Meanwhile, the Eagles built a dominant front by making Georgia defenders a priority. And the result? A Super Bowl ring. So here's the big question. Why aren't the Falcons making the University of Georgia their personal talent pipeline? If elite players are being produced right in their own state, why let other teams, especially the Eagles, capitalize on it? Will 2025 be the year? The good news? The Falcons already have their franchise quarterback and offensive weapons in place. So maybe, just maybe, 2025 will be the year they finally turn to Athens and bring a Georgia Bulldog to Atlanta. What do you think, Falcons fans? Should the Falcons start prioritizing Georgia players in the draft? Or are they making the right choices by looking elsewhere? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And before you go, don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more Falcons news all off-season long. Go Falcons! Football on fire!